Hey, Banki.
Hey, Sheri.
How are you?
I am good. Are you ready for today?
I am ready like Freddy.
Let's do this. Welcome to Bombshell Impact. This is a Bombshell Impact. It's a podcast on the Business Takeout podcast platform. My name is Banki. I am the founder of Banki Designs, which is does graphic design, web design, and social media marketing. I'm the co-host today along with Sheri. Sheri, can you tell everyone about who you are?
Absolutely. First of all, welcome everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Saturday. My name is Sheri-Anne Woolley. I am what do you call me? A service-based business entrepreneur. I work with solopreneurs and service-based businesses who wear multiple hats and are doing it all alone in their business, but they need help organizing their workflow, maybe filling in gaps in their day-to-day operations. And this is really, I service people who are really good at what they do, but they need help with the structures and the systems that attract clients and sales and really bring them forward.
Okay. Now, Bombshell Impact, what is it?
Well, you and I kind of put our heads together and we've built this community. It is a private community, but this is where business owners can come and get resources and tools and ask questions on how to move to the next level. Perhaps they're stuck with marketing, or maybe it's business strategy, goal setting, whatever it is, but they can come to this group, ask their questions, get resources and tools. And of course, we have this show every Saturday with very, very focused content this week, or this month rather. I think this is the last one in our 4 weeks of January. We spoke about goals, goal setting, goal getting, what to track, etc. And next month, we're going to be talking everything marketing. So Bombshell Impact is a business information hub. And please, if you're not a member, get on over there and join.
Yes, definitely. So for those who are tuning in right now, we are live on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, even Twitch. So for those who are watching, please feel free to share it. Share it with your family members, share it with your network, your auntie, your uncle. Just share it with everyone. We need to know this. Everyone who's watching right now, they need to know this, because these are great information that we're bringing out to you every Saturday at noon. So let's hop into it. Today, we're going to focus on measuring and what that looks like. So I'm going to hop into the very first question for you, Sheri. So the very first question, how do you define the success of your goals?
So that's a really good question, because over the past few weeks, we've talked about, dreaming up that goal and really fleshing out the details as to what the daily activities should be, or what you think the daily activities should be. But really defining the success of your goals comes down to tracking. I mean, I sound like a broken record when I talk about tracking, but that is where the intel is, right? It's in the data that you track, in all of the transactions that happen in your business. It allows you to compare day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year. So the data is really, really important in defining your success. And it's kind of like the odometer in your car, right? If you're not looking at that, you don't know how fast you're going, right? So it's really important to always measure, be aware of how you're doing and how fast are you moving? Where are you going, right? All of those things need to be captured in tracking.
Exactly. One thing I really would like everyone to think about is, what does success look like for you in order to track and measure your success. So
and
are you
look like to move that needle forward, right? Like that is the biggest.
So there's a lot of things to take into consideration. Is it money for you? Is it love? Is it health? Is it comfort? Is it learning? Is it fun? So you got to look at, in terms of success, what is it really for you? And, is the success your social media success? How, effective your business is on social media? So those are the things you got to really look at first, is to define what it is that you want to gain out of it before taking a step forward into the measuring process.
Absolutely.
So now that you know what you want to, you want to attain, how do you know what metrics to track?
That's a really good question. How do you know what metric to track? And I think that one of the major things for anybody in business to understand, especially if you're not accustomed to tracking your data and analyzing, is any transaction that occurs in your business is trackable. Every transaction in your business has a story to tell, right? So whether it's an increase, that's telling you something, it stays the same, that is also telling you something. It goes down, that's telling you something. And it's up to you to be able to dig into the intel, to the data, to the numbers, and understand what is happening. What is the story of the business? You've heard me say before, numbers tell the story. So they can't lie. They don't have any biases. They really don't care. They're just the numbers. So read them over. They're going to give you the information that you need. And then I say for people who feel like they have to wear all the hats and do, be on 5,000 platforms at once, pick one or two, whatever's manageable for you, and do it properly. And properly doesn't just refer to being consistent and doing it every day. It also refers to tracking it. Take the insights from all the tools online for insights, right? So take that information and analyze it. What's it telling you? Did your post work? Did your, I don't know, whatever you measured, did it work? Did it go up or did it go down? And then you look at the activities that brought you there and decide if you're going to change course.
Yes, definitely. So you gave some great points. One of the things I would really want to touch on is to ask yourself, what are 3 things that you want to achieve? You can do that as a starting point, right?
Absolutely.
So for social media, for example, is it your followers? Is it your subscriptions? Is it your sales? Strong engagement from your audience, or even brand recognition? You really have to define what's really important to you and what you want to achieve, and start right there. So that way, when you're looking at the metric, you can compare it to what exactly you want to achieve and know if it's working or not. That's pretty much what it comes down to.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to go over to the next question. And the next question is, how will you know if you're measuring the right metrics? And I think I kind of touched on it. Sheri, what would you say?
I would say if you don't know, measure them all. Again, the numbers are going to tell you the story. And I like to say this, and I like to deal with people who've never tracked before and tell them to track everything, because we often think that a follower, an increase in follower is a great metric, and that's all the achievement you need to make. And that's not necessarily true. I've worked with coaches who have, under 1,000 followers on their social platforms, but they're bringing in the bag month after month. So it really comes down to knowing where to play and how to play in that area, right? So you can have a small following and still be making great money.
That's true. It's all really what it comes down to is what's important to you, right? You got to ask yourself, what information am I reviewing and what's important to you? And knowing what's really important to you can really determine which metrics is right for you to use.
Absolutely.
Yes, and so
and do these numbers relate to needle movers, right?
exactly.
So we may be looking at something, but is it going to bring us closer to capturing a lead? Is it going to bring us closer to closing a sale? Is it going to bring us closer to, increasing our bottom line? So what are the needle movers in your business?
Exactly. So you just know the right information. For example, you can have a local business, and your followers on your social media can be international customers, international potential customers, that is, international followers. Knowing this information can really make you determine, do you want to expand outside of your local area? So those are the things that you can really look forward to once you start measuring the right metrics, knowing the right information, knowing exactly who is looking at your products and services.
And you know what, you bring a good point there. When you have that part of the business mapped out, you know who you're targeting, you know what your messaging is, you know where to play. tracking becomes so much easier, right? In the beginning, it's a little bit more difficult because you're building and you're testing and you're trying to track at the same time. Maybe you don't have the patience to stay in the game long enough, so your numbers are, a little bit wishy-washy, if you will. So it's important to stick in there as well.
That's true. Now, you mentioned something about slacking, and I think that's good because basically measuring, it also identify areas that you're slacking as well. Yeah. So when you're looking at your stats, you'll be like, you know what, I could have put more effort in one area, and it can help you grow as a person. It can help you grow as a business. So it's really important to really follow those steps. Now on to the next question. What are some of the most important metrics that business tracks?
Sales, that's a big one. But conversions, I think, is much more important, and even more important than that is leads. So once you figure out where to get your leads, how to get your leads, are they qualified leads? And then how many of those leads are actually becoming customers or buying your product? Right? So conversions is a big one that most people track. But, when you start out, that might not be where you start, right? You may be looking at how many people have opted into your email list. You may be looking at how many calls you receive on your topic. You may be looking at how long those calls are, right? Of course, there's always money, but when you're starting out, a lot of the data that you'll receive is about your activity. How much are you putting yourself out there? How much are you asking for and capturing leads, right? So those are some of the real basic ones. I know everybody wants to track followers and likes and all of that stuff. But again, those things do not hold water unless you have something to follow up, a way to follow up. So whether it's amazing content or it's engagement, right? Engagement is a big one. You can have 1,000 followers, but if no one ever talks to you, it's not weighted very heavily.
Exactly. That you just said a lot of things that are really important. What I would really also focus on, well, you mentioned some of them, revenue and expenses, sales. You mentioned sales, very important. You need to know if you're spending more than what you're actually gaining, right? You need to know about your sales growth of the year to date. Those specific information. Your customers. Do you know how much customers you've lost over a specific time period?
Yeah.
Maybe you post something and you didn't realize at that time it was maybe offensive, and maybe that particular post had made you lost followers. How do you know how it really impacted you? So those are some of the things to look at. You really also want to look at customer loyalty and retention, customer satisfaction, and engagement, especially in social media. Yeah. So, just wanted to add those things, really important metrics to track to really know how your business is doing. Also, let's go over to the next question. Other than profitability, and I mentioned some of those, how can you gauge, how can you measure how your business is doing?
And this is going to sound a bit repetitive, but one of the things that I think is very different, because I'm going through this right now for myself, is how do you feel? How do you feel about the effort you're putting in and the direction you're moving in? Because how we feel, a lot of people turn off their gut meter, if you will, that tells them, how to feel. But I think that when you're successful in business and you're doing things the right way, you're going to feel differently. And sometimes frustration is a sign of moving in the right direction. You're embarking on something new, you're leveling up, you have to expand your mind, right? So I think that, feeling is one thing. And I say that because right now I've never felt so good about what I'm doing. And it actually feels good to do it, to measure it, to fall down. Like I told you, I've had some fall downs. And it's okay. I laugh at them, right? So, there's engagement. How many people have opted into your list? If you're sharing your information online, how many people are engaging with you, right? Inquiries, phone calls, if it's phone calls that you're getting, visits to your website. And, we can get into all of that deeper stuff, when we get onto this subject next month. But, number of visitors to your website is a big indicator depending on what your goal is, right? And what you're trying to do from a social aspect. But I mean, there's so many different things that will tell you how well you're doing. Of course, sales. Of course, the number of times the phone rings. Of course, the number of inquiries you get. But it's also important to be aware. Do not get excited like me when you get like a lot of inquiries, but nothing turns into sales, right? Why is that? So that's a spot where you would stop and analyze what happens between the engagement or the opt-in and them dropping off of my radar. What's happening there, right? So a lot of those things will help you measure the success.
Yes, you mentioned some great points. One thing I love what you said is website traffic, right? Do you know do you check Google Analytics, right? Knowing what part of the page your customers go to all the time, knowing what product they view most of the time, knowing where they go when they go to your website and where they don't go when they go to your website, all that information, very important. Employee happiness, knowing how happy your employees are if you have them, right? That counts as knowing how well your business is doing because it is part of your brand, and also surveys, big one, surveys. After someone buys a product or service, do you know how they feel about it? So those are things that you can measure as well.
And whether you're working with a vendor who is working kind of for you, but is a vendor, they can be surveyed. Employees internally, as well as your clients. There's valuable information that comes from feedback.
Yes, because when you really look at it, a lot of the businesses and a lot of business owners can relate. A lot of the businesses that you get, they're word of mouth, right? It's people that have used your business service or product and had liked it, and they told someone else about it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's all in that. So knowing what it is that they liked about it, if someone come on your website, knowing how did they really find you? Yeah. Did they find you on Facebook? Did they find you on Instagram? Or did someone tell you about them? So all that information is really useful. We're on to the next question, Sheri. How do you measure what customers think about your product and service? And we kind of touched on that. But yeah, let's shoot at it and go into detail. Let's get into it.
So many people are in business and they do not ask for feedback. And so, asking for feedback, asking for reviews, and reviews are powerful. If you have a personal product or service, people want to buy that based on how other people feel, how other people felt, the experience of other people. Reviews are a big deal. Anybody in our audience right now that shops on Amazon, I can all but guarantee when they go to get an item for the first time, the reviews weigh heavily on their decision to buy. So reviews are massive. And the biggest tip I'm going to give away today when it comes to reviews, it not only is another touch point, it's not only feedback for you to improve, because we do get bad reviews, but we have to pick them apart for truth, right? Is making sure that when you get a review, it speaks to the services that you provide. Asking for someone for feedback or review that says, oh, your service was great, doesn't help anybody. So when you're asking for reviews, ask specifically, comment on how it tasted, comment on how it made you feel, comment on how easy it was for you to move through my business funnel. How easy was it for you to access me or access the information, right? Those things are massive. So when you're getting reviews, make sure your reviews are very targeted, are very purposeful, and will serve you.
Yes, definitely. You know what? When I shop online, I always have problems finding the right clothes that can fit me, right? We all do, right? And shopping online at the very beginning has been challenging for many. But what really helps is I can go in the review section and I can see other people who had bought that specific outfit, what they liked and did not like about it, Maybe someone said, it can help you. You should have bought a size too small, a size smaller if you're this particular physique, and that can help you determine whether, what exactly in the product should I buy. So, those type of things, knowing what your customers think when they buy your product, knowing how it might help you in adjusting how you package your product, all those different things. So yeah, reviews, big time.
I
Okay.
have a little story on that, and it's the most. I think this is another big lesson for people that are listening. I had my daughter was going to a hairdresser. We found them on Facebook. They're local, and we went to the appointment. We waited outside in the wintertime, probably 20 minutes after our appointment time started. We were early. We waited a long time. And when I went inside, I realized they were young girls starting their business, etc. So I decided to provide a little feedback. And I asked if I could provide the feedback. They're like, yeah. So I said to them, you're a business. Don't tell people to come at 8:30 and then open the door, sauntering to the door like you don't care, half dressed at 8:50. It's just not acceptable. Customers are your business. This is what keeps you in business. And she's like, that's why I tore down my Facebook page. I can't take people like you telling me this stuff. And I said, you know what? You really have to look deep within yourself. When people give you feedback, do not take it personally. You're handing out a service or a product. You are the creator or the manager, but you are not the product. So separate yourself from that. And when someone gives you feedback, analyze it. Is there truth in this? Can I improve in some way? It goes a lot further for you to get a bad review that you can turn around and then flood your page with a bunch of positive reviews than it does when I go back to Facebook to find you and you don't exist anymore. So there's a lot of juice and meat in reviews, and it's very, very important that you remove yourself personally, listen to what the review is saying, and analyze the truth from it. Is there truth in it? Is there not truth? Was it someone with an attitude? But we really have to be able to get those reviews. It's important. And remember, no one is ever done. Done is better than perfect, right? When we think about Uber, they're always improving. Google, iPhone. Like, come on, right? So we really have to take the pressure off of ourselves and really treat our business like a separate entity. When I started my cleaning service, I named it Mona because I didn't want it to get confused with Sheri-Anne. I know that sounds crazy, but it allowed me to have Mona in my palm of my hands and manage it as Sheri-Anne. So when someone said, oh, your cleaning service is shit, I know they're not talking to me. They're talking about the service I provide. So that gives me eliminate myself, and I'm going to dive in now. What are the processes and systems, et cetera, that may have brought us here? I know I talk. Go on.
No, but you nailed it. It's exactly it. When someone gives you feedback, you look at it as an opportunity to be better in any area of your life, whether it's business, whether it's personal relationships. You look at it as an opportunity to improve. And I think you nailed it. I'm glad you said that.
And that's where coaching comes in, right? That's kind of why we do what we do, why we're doing this group, is because this is big stuff. Like, this is stuff we need to help people with, because you will never get past where you are if you can't take that feedback.
Exactly. And one of the other things I wanted to add is more of getting back to knowing who your customers are that are leaving you, whether they decide to cancel your subscription or they decide to stay, knowing how many were you able to turn around and have them stay even after they had first initiated that they wanted to leave.
Yeah.
You see companies like Bell, you know about Bell.
That's why we do exit interviews, right?
Yes.
Like, how else will you know why someone was unhappy, why they left? You may not be able to do anything about it, but knowledge is power. So if we know why, maybe there's something we can do, and maybe there's not. We'll let it roll off our shoulder and we'll move forward.
I remember working at Bell, and I had like a great retention score. And it was based on basically being able to after identifying why the customer wants to leave, being able to save them from making that decision and turning them around and making them stay as a customer. So part of measuring is identifying what are the key problems.
Yeah.
So if you know what the problems are, and then you find a solution for that problem, when a customer decides they want to leave, you have a solution available for them.
And think about that. We're talking about Bell, like gigantic, enormous. They don't shut down because they're getting negative feedback. People leave them all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's being able to listen. Some people just want to vent, and it's being able to listen and turn that situation around, right? So yeah, that's
exactly. And my favorite question. Anything social media is my favorite question. How do you know if your activity on your social media platform, if it's effective or not?
I'm laughing because isn't this what I asked you this morning about this show? Insights, right? It's insights. Yeah. It's the data that you track that will tell you what your social media activity is doing for you. I was just getting all giddy up excited just when I had more followers. And one of my coaches says, "Are you kidding me right now?" She's like, "Followers? Did you make any sales?" And I'm like, "No." But she brought me right into the back end insights where you can see, is there an increase? Yes or no? So when I see the increase, I can now go back to my social activity and see what type of things I posted, when I posted them, who engaged, how they engaged, and I can try to repeat that behavior, right? When you look at, IGTV or any of these other metrics that you can track online, they give you great data, right? You spoke about Google Analytics before. When you think about your website, you need to know, is your page effective? Yeah, it looks pretty to you, but can your user maneuver on that page comfortably, right? What is the data? Are they bouncing off? They jump on and then they bounce right off? Well, just because you had 3,000 people attend your website or jump on your website, but your bounce rate is 100%, that means people stay for less than 30 seconds. What could they possibly absorb, take in, read about in 30 seconds, right? So there's a lot of data that you can drill down into. And that's why earlier I said, pick one or two things in your business to track and become a master at tracking it. So that once you've gone through the hard part of setting it up and figuring out what to track and how to track and looking at it every week, you know what markers really matter, and those will be your needle movers, and that will be what you look at on a regular basis.
I agree. So going into the details about specifics that metrics on your social media is knowing your reach, how many people are seeing your social media posts, right? So those are some things. Your engagement, how often your users, your audience are interacting with your social media profiles, all of them, right? Your audience retention, you mentioned that. Is your audience staying on your page when they look at a post, or are they just clicking like and just going to the next? And you would know that based on, their response. Are they engaging? Are they commenting? Are they sharing? Are they sending it to their friends? Then knowing your audience, who your audience is on social media. Does it measure up with who your target audience is for your business? That's important, right? If you're targeting, if you have a target audience for that is women between the ages of 10 to 15, let's just put in some teenagers, and you go on social media and all your target audiences there is women between the ages of 40 to 65, you got to then ask yourself, what are you doing? What are you doing to really get the target audience that you need? So you got to then review the posts that you're doing. And then with reviewing the posts that you're doing, you can then say, okay, I see what I'm doing wrong, and I see what I need to do to fix this. So those are audience, making sure that your audience that are following you, that are engaging with your content on social media, that they line up with your audience that is meant for, that you're targeting in your business. That is key, because followers are followers, but are they the right followers? And that is pretty much what you really have to identify. And knowing what your top posts are. And that's really important. And I'll tell you why. Knowing what your top posts are will identify what's working and what's not working. So knowing, okay, if you did a video and it had like 800 views, let's just use a small number, you're going to really look at that view and say, why did people gravitate and resonate with this video? What about it made it special, made it so unique? Was it the time of day that it was posted? What was the topic about? What did I do differently that I didn't do in other posts? And you can really look into that and pull in and gather as much information as you can, and then use that information to implement it in future posts to create ongoing engagement and keep it rolling, Sheri, I'm looking at the time. We're about to come to a close. You have a planner, a goal planner. Can you tell the audience about it?
Sure. I created a business goal planner. I'm an operations strategist, but what I found was when I was trying to move my business online, I needed a way to stay organized on top of all the things that I needed to do. Not only were those things net new to me, but playing online is net new to me. So I created a planner to help keep me organized. It's only a 12-week planner. It helps you organize yourself for 12 weeks. 12 weeks, as you know, Banki, is a long time when it comes to making a difference going towards your goals or reaching your goals. It is 12 focused weeks, breaking down your tasks into monthly, weekly, and daily doables. And it gives you an ability to check off what you're doing and mark your accomplishments, measure your accomplishments. And there's a spreadsheet in there to keep you organized with your numbers, help you set targets that are realistic. And yeah, I mean, a lot of people, once they get the planner, they start rolling into the, I have a freebie. It's a systems planner. It's a predictable, profitable system setup guide. This is all about keeping yourself organized. So once you start putting out the plans and mapping out what needs to be done, the systems and processes, or the systems guide, will help you put all your processes into order on your computer. So you're not running around like a crazy person, all chaotic, trying to find documents, templates, emails, etc. It helps you know what to do, when to do, and how to move through your business every day with purpose towards your goals. So the two, kind of a package deal, and they go well together. This is, sorry, I see the question on the screen from Alethea, and it is for business, but one of the greatest things, and I'm going to address something, I don't know if this is what you're speaking about, but when you talk about a planner or a calendar, and I actually went to a course when I worked at Bell, they sent me to this thing. It was a whole day on how to use your planner, because having more than one planner is not okay. You're one person. With one day, you have the same 24 hours I do. So what is the best way to do it is to have one planner where you keep everything. The planner I have is more about to-dos, the actions, the moving forward, and I don't have a calendar in there. And the reason why is because I'm trying to eliminate that stress of, well, Valentine's Day is coming. Let's get it done. Let's get it done. Let's get it done. Every day is a sales day. And every day you should be putting in the same effort to building your product, making sure that it is fleshed out, it is thoroughly mapped out, you know who you attract, how to attract them, and how they're going to move through your business. It is uber important. And that's where the systems guide comes in. It helps you organize that. It addresses operational gaps. It addresses what to do, when to do it. It addresses all of those things, and it takes out that confusion around, oh, what do I do today? Right? So that's the planner and the systems download. You can get them as a bundle deal for $24.95 if anybody's interested. Not expensive, but I am available. I think that we can put my contact detail up on the screen. I am available to help walk people through and have a little brief chat about how to use these tools. But I've been getting amazing feedback, so I'm very happy to share it. I'm very happy to guide people through using it. I think that we need to, especially if you're not experienced at setting a goal and knocking it off, I think we need to strip it back to the easiest doable time frame. And 12 weeks, you can do more in 12 weeks than most people do in 12 months. So the planner is huge, huge, huge in helping you achieve that, because my intention is once you get through those 12 weeks, you would have built in systems and habits and know-how that have you moving a lot freer in your business. And I think that's another thing, we cannot, business is not about being stressed out every single day. Business is not something that taps you on the shoulder whenever it feels like to disturb your day. So when you plan and you have systems in place, you can live la vida loca.
Yes, get it done. I'm loving it. We're about to come to a close for our show today. I'd like to thank you everyone for tuning in. Please tune in every Saturday at noon. We have more great things in store for you. Next month, we're going to focus specifically on social media. So thank you all. See you next week, Saturday. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.